You are listening to Insights with Kathleen. Please join me while I share my insights and experiences with the hope to inspire you to look inside of yourself for the answers that you already have. As with all information we receive, take what speaks to you and leave the rest. Welcome back. I am here with my friend Sherry once again.
Hey guys, how you doing?
So we're counting down. This is like episode 7.
Lucky 7, you said.
Yes, and I just want to say, first of all, I know that I have not said this, and I want to let everybody out there know that my friend Sherry here has her own podcast. It's called That's Enough Sherry.
Yes, I do. I do have a podcast. It's my little comedy podcast that I like to do. I'm on season 4, I think, so you have time to catch on up. But yeah, and I have a YouTube channel. So
yes, and then you also do music, don't you?
I dabble. You know, I've written a couple songs, just 80. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Do you have those all posted, or you only have a couple of things posted?
No, I have a lot of stuff posted. If you guys head to my YouTube channel called That's Enough Sherry, Sherry spelled Cherry. I have all my old podcasts, all my old songs, all my new songs. So it's just a whole plethora of Sherry if you really want to see more of Sherry.
Awesome. So, I was thinking, Sherry,
yes,
that for the first 6 episodes, you have asked me questions. So I thought it might be fun that I ask you a question.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I've always wanted a question. Yes, please.
All right. So in our previous podcasts, you had referenced or spoken of, and just even our past one, you started to talk our audience through being in touch with yourself and feeling the feels, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
So would you mind just kind of taking us through that process a little slower? Like when would you do that? Why do you do that? What's the benefit in doing it? And then how do you do it?
All right. 8 questions in one. I love this. It's like those open-ended questions your teachers ask you. And it's like, it's one question, but it's really 6.
This is a term paper, by the way.
This is a term paper. All right. I'll kind of go through it. So for the longest time, I was not in touch with my feelings. So I would suppress them and all that because I was like, feelings are bad. I don't want to feel feelings until I got a therapist and she's like, hey, these aren't bad. And several years later, I was able to feel my feelings. I guess going into it, I had to realize why I wanted to feel my feelings because, you can't just be like, I'm going to feel the feelings if you don't want to. So I guess, I just had talked to people and, it was just kind of like hey, your feelings help you indicate what's going on with you, what's happening with you. And you could almost think of it as like, hey, it almost helps you problem solve like an issue. Like if you have a car or something and then you see smoke, you'd be like, wow, there's a problem with that. Not like man, I'm so mad there's smoke coming out of my car. So that's kind of how I view feelings. Now, when I got into that and I was like, oh, okay, it's helping me identify things, then I had to like really let myself feel feelings. And it was a little hard at first. And some of you, yes.
Wait a second. Let me just hold on that part of it. So let's just go back a little bit.
Okay.
So the part where you're talking about you're really not feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you went really fast there. So I just want to go back to your analogy a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
So you're talking about how like when a car is smoking.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there kind of going, oh, the car's smoking. Like on some level, like when people reach like a certain level of enlightenment, right, where they've learned to just kind of go with the flow and they may see that smoking car as like, okay, car smoking, check. This is an adventure. We're just going to go down and see where this takes us.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is car smoking, but you feel flat. You feel zero. You feel nothing. It's not even like you're trying to just be enlightened to say, oh, we're just going to go with the flow. So what you're saying is that you totally were just sort of like numb.
Oh, for sure.
Is that right?
I was so numb. Like, I would go into therapy. My therapist is like, how are you feeling today? And I was like, happy or sad? Apparently. Those were and it took a while. I give her credit because like she's just like, no, those you're just saying like actions, I think I was saying, and I wasn't saying actual feelings. And for the longest time, like I never got mad. I never really, expressed that many emotions. And people would be like, wow, you're just always so happy all the time. But I didn't realize it was like a double-edged sword because it's just like, well, I'm not really expressing myself. I'm suppressing it.
Yeah, you're suppressing it and you're disconnecting, right? Or you were, because you're not doing that anymore.
No,
but
no.
you were disconnecting. All right, so now go ahead to the
No,
next part.
you're fine. So, I would see emotions and I'd be like, no, suppress. And, it's funny because I was actually going to tell you a little bit about this, about how like suppressing your your emotions almost can have like some physical repercussions.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I didn't know that for the longest time, for I don't know how many years, like maybe 4 years. I had chronic migraines 3 times a week, and it was pretty awful. So I'd be like, let's take some Excedrin, let's take Tylenol. And then they're like, those make it worse if you take it too much. So it wasn't until I got in touch with my feelings, I'm like, oh, this actually has an impact on me. So I was numb for, the longest time, went to therapy, and there was, I don't know what process this is called. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you. And I'm not a therapist. But I know there was some time when I was like getting more in touch with my feelings and letting myself be vulnerable. And it takes time because I didn't trust myself, but I had to trust myself a little bit to like just be like, all right, your eyes are welling up. Don't suppress it. Just let it happen. And, stuff like that. And I remember when I was first experiencing emotions, I was like, I am overwhelmed. It was overwhelming because I went from like being constipated with feelings to like now I'm having diarrhea and there's feelings everywhere.
Diarrhea of feelings.
Diarrhea of feelings. And I hated it. I hated it so much. I was like, why am I crying for no reason? Why am I like really angry for no reason? But there was always reasons behind that, but I just wasn't able to like, put the dots together.
Yeah, be like the Sherlock Holmes of feelings.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm having this reaction. Where's the root of this?
Oh my gosh.
And it's like,
yeah. So I was super constipated with feelings, had diarrhea of feelings, and it was just too much for me at one point.
Right. And then before we go on a little more, I just want to clarify too, because I've had similar experiences, and feelings it's not just about like what we would dub as negative feelings. It's also about happy feelings, because I know for myself, things that happened in my childhood, I'd be feeling really ecstatic about something and really happy, and then something or someone would come in and just crash that. So then I just learned to not have.
Right.
Don't be happy. Don't be sad.
Just
be in the middle there. Don't feel. It's
Don't
basically what you learned through the different traumas of growing up or just life in general, and until you really step into that, until your power and you can shift and change and learn and grow, much like what you're teaching us. But I just want you to know, it's not just about not feeling feelings of sadness or anger or what some people might dub the darker feelings.
Yeah.
But it could also be the happy, joyful feelings too.
Oh, for sure. Someone like raining on your parade or whatever. I just know for me, I don't know. I guess I don't know how to explain it, but for me, I guess one might call me a personality, maybe a large personality.
Really?
Oh, so like whenever I'd go anywhere, it was almost like the opposite of what your friend did to you. Everyone like expected me to be happy. Everyone's like, oh, Sherry's the life of the party. She's really bubbly. So I just learn kind of like to be like, all right, no one wants to see me sad, no one wants to see me mad, because they're like, Sherry's the life of the party. And I was also like dealing like with a mental health thing at the time, so it's just like, all right, we're just gonna be happy a lot. And it was a lot of expectations I feel like people were putting on me, but just more I was putting on myself.
Yeah, exactly. You said it. You said it. Very wise of you.
That's because I learned from the best, because I was like hearing your voice in the back of my head, like, you're putting a lot of expectations. And I did put a lot of expectations on myself for a bit, and then I kind of was able to like this took a while, but I was like, okay, just all right, I just have to sit down and feel it, because sometimes my therapist will be like, hey, when you're feeling an emotion, log it on your body where you're feeling it. And I was like, this is so dumb, like I don't need to be doing this, because I was just like pretty like pessimistic about it in the first place. But whenever I'd be sad, I'd be like, wow, the right side of my eye is like feeling very tight and hot, or like my shoulders hurt, or like when I was mad, apparently like my fist would clench a lot too.
Wow.
And it was like different things, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy, I'm learning so much. And I would just do that. That's why I talked to you guys about body scans. Like that was kind of like the little makings of body scans. So whenever I was upset, I was like, my therapist would be like, okay, not only are you going to circle what this is, you're going to tell me what evoked that. And I was like, what? I don't understand. So, I'd be like, oh, had a bad day at work, tightness in eye, and I write bad day at work. And then I was able to, in my mind being like, oh, thoughts with feelings, emotions with actions. And I was able to put these puzzles together. It took a little bit, guys. Don't you worry. It took me a hot minute, but I was able to like put those things together and connect them. Now, I guess if I'm speaking about myself now, when I do the body scans, that's basically what I do. I'm just kind of like, all right, let me sit with myself. What is my body feeling? Okay, my eyes, they tight. What's going on? And I had to do it the other day. I was like, you know what? I'm feeling not great. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a bunch of cookies. And I was like, you know what?
It's a cure to everything, right?
It really is. And I was like, you know what? No. Okay, I'm going to sit there. And I was on the phone with my friend. I had hung up and I was like, I think I just got to cry. And I was like driving in my car and I kept passing Arby's. And I was like, I just need to cry. And I was just like, it just happened. And I was like, and then I got to the root of my problem. I was like, oh, this is why I'm upset about it. And I don't know how that happened, but I was just able to get to that point. So always feel your feelings, guys. Feelings help. They really do. Because I can't tell you the amount of times I've been like angry or upset or something like that. And I'm like, oh, that's why. Or, one thing that I usually do sometimes, which might be helpful for you guys, I sometimes write things down. If you have a journal, you don't even need to have a journal if you're like, I don't want anyone to read this. You could just be like, I'm going to rip it up later or just, type it on the phone and not send it, whatever. But sometimes I feel like the best is when you're like letting your brain go on autopilot and just type what you're feeling. And then you read it back, you're like, oh, I did not realize I was so angry about this. So yeah. I don't know if that's happened to you before. Like you just,
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, I want to go back to personally, I just would like to go back to the part where you're feeling it in your body.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So for me, especially in the journeys that I'm on and I'm going on like with meditation and you kind of want to feel or not feel or work through different things. So feeling the feels physically like that, how long did that take you in your practical life there in exercising that? Because for me, for somebody to say, well, to feel your feelings, well, where are you feeling that in you? And I'm like, well, I'm not feeling it anywhere. I'm like,
for sure.
Like I'm so numb, I feel it nowhere. But then how
did I get to that?
Do you mind sharing that?
Oh, yeah, no, not a problem. Okay, I gotta think real hard because I really don't remember.
Because you just did it.
I don't remember how I did that. I think it just took a lot of like being vulnerable with myself. And I know that sounds kind of ambiguous, but I think I don't know. I guess I just became more open to the idea. I just journaled a lot more. That's what I did. So I got a mood tracking app. I totally recommend, anyone who's just like trying to figure out their so I have like a mental health thing. So I just downloaded this app and I would notice like a spike in my mood. I would be like dips and depressions and stuff like that. And I guess for me, what I would do is before I could actually feel it myself in my body, I almost had to analog it. Yeah. I had to like physically be like, today I was really happy and this happened. And today I was really sad and that happened. Or today I was angry, like, or something like that. I know on the app, it actually gives you like, faces, it'd be like sad, happy, middle, these different things. So it's great for someone like me because I was like, I don't know what feelings I'm feeling right now. It'll just give me a scale of 1 to 5 of like, certain things. Sure. So I would just kind of like, before I could do it myself, I'd be like, all right, today was a great day because of this, or yesterday was awful. And I did that for like a couple months, and I just kind of got in the rhythm. And I don't know where the switch was where it was like, feel it on your body. But I think I just had to get comfortable with myself, just like logging it down and being like, oh, wow, you were really sad this day and this thing happened to you.
So do you think that in doing that and taking that journey and that approach, do you think it was kind of like also reprogramming your brain, like giving your brain something else to focus on? So then maybe it wasn't so hyper vigilant in blocking. And then it kind of, this is just like kind of hitting me in this way. So forgive me, go with me on this.
Yes. Okay. I'm going with you.
So like your brain for whatever reason, whatever trauma, whatever, expectations, whatever the reason may be why we shut ourselves off to our feelings, I kind of feel like our brain would put up like this big vault, like this big locked door, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like it's going to just keep us safe. That whole flight or fight kind of mechanism is just now locked down the fort. And there's nothing coming through now. I'm going to keep you safe from these feelings. These feelings will not get you. Not at all, right?
Exactly. That's what the phrase, I feel like it does sometimes, right?
So when I'm hearing you recap your journey on this, and I know it's been some time for you, this is just kind of the picture that's painted in my brain as I'm listening to you, that this vault piece. But then as you're analoging it, right, just identifying with the smileys, then I almost like feel like the brain is probably unlocking maybe the first lock. Like, okay, we can lessen on this. All right, well, this is cool. This is a thing. We can focus here. And then as you build on it, the brain is like loosening up on that vault door, and now it's starting to allow the feelings to turn back on. Is that kind of?
No, you know what? That is correct. And I'm glad you said it in that way, because it actually jogged my memory of like the steps that I did take, because I was like blanking. I was like, what the heck's going on? So yes, I did first like analog and be like, all right, this feeling, this emotion, all right. And I still wasn't like feeling them in my body, but that is something that I was writing down. And then I always talk to you guys about dialect behavioral therapy. So I am going to talk about it once again, because that is the big thing that changed from me not feeling the feelings to me feeling the feelings now. And basically what it is, it just helps you, like, I don't know, like when you're having, I don't know, you're feeling high emotion. I'm really not explaining this right.
That's okay. You're doing great.
I'm very sorry.
You're doing great.
I just noticed like a big thing for me personally, I would feel these high end of emotions. I didn't know how to deal with them. I didn't know how to manage them. So my therapist suggested a program called dialect behavioral therapy. And basically what it is it kind of gives you the tools on how to, deal with your emotions. There's different types of seminars that they do. There's like some where they're like emotional distress,
That's a tongue twister.
Emotional distress tolerance. Anyway, one of those when your emotions are really
emotional distress tolerance.
There you go. There you go. This is why it's your show. So there's that, and then there's some for like meditation, for like when you're ruminating about things. And there's like, I don't know, there's like 12 different. It's like almost like a 12-step program, but it's something to help kind of retrain your brain and how you think. So now for me, my brain is like, go, 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 go. It's like running 1,000 miles a minute. So it doesn't even have time to get the luggage that is emotions. It's just like, we're just going on to the next thing because we're stressed out about everything. But then in that program, I was able to I remember going in, and the first thing that they had us do was like meditate. And they asked, hey, how did everyone do? And I was like, I'll be honest, I was not thinking anything about meditating. I was thinking about like when I'm going to be late for work and what clothes I have to wear for work. And I'm stressed. And they're like, you know what?
That was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, that's totally normal. That's totally fine. And I loved that program because it kind of helped you like not to be as hard on yourself. Like if you don't get things right, because there's no right way. Exactly. It's like a no judge. And I just remember coming out of that program so much more mellow.
Right. So we're so quick to judge ourselves.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, like, granted, the world out there, you got your little gossip hounds who are out there judging everybody else. And I feel bad for them because can you imagine how much harsher they are in judging themselves if they're going to be judging others? We give more grace to others than we do ourselves. And why is that? We should be loving us first.
Honestly, yeah.
So that we could be all filled up to love everybody else.
Exactly. If you don't love yourself first, then how are you going to give that love out?
So that's I'm glad that you had that experience to know that, your first meditation experience, maybe you're running lists, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling antsy, I can't sit still, this is ridiculous. How am I supposed to be quiet? What do you mean quiet my mind?
Like, what is quiet? Ah! Oh, that was real.
And you're seeing stuff? What do you mean you're seeing stuff? Like,
I know, man, I wish I had a log from before and after I did it, because it was just so much judgment, so much rushing. And I just remember, being so anxious, being like, oh, I didn't do this, or I'm supposed to do that.
And how is this supposed to help me get in touch with my feelings?
Exactly. Like, what's going on? It was crazy. So I'm glad I came out of that program, because it just, again, it helped so much. And I almost wish there was I'm pretty sure there's some stuff online. There's some seminars and stuff. But yeah, it just kind of helped me reprogram, kind of take a step back. Especially, the biggest thing I learned from that program, so many things. But the biggest thing that helped a lot is if you're in a high stress situation, get yourself out and breathe. Yeah, sometimes it's something as little as sitting in your car or something like that. Because I remember I'd be in high stress situations, and I'm just it's okay, we're gonna fake our way through it. And I'm just ooh, God, that hurts.
No, don't victimize yourself, right? If you're in a situation and you just feel you know what, you can't breathe, you're overstressed or anxious, or oh my goodness, just take a break.
Yeah,
walk away. I don't care what the circumstance is.
Yeah.
You always have the ability to move away from it.
No, for sure.
Even if it is just to go to the bathroom and lock the door.
Honestly, yeah. Just say you're having diarrhea. That's what I did.
Oh my goodness. When my kids were little and I was single parenting it, there were times where it's just all I want to do is scream. Or I just needed to not have somebody on my leg or crying mommy or something. So I used to go in the bathroom and lock the door and say, Mommy's busy. And I know for any of the moms that might be out there listening, you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. No. Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
But that's part of loving you, right? And that's part of respecting yourself. And even in situations, maybe somebody's in your face and you just don't know what to say to them, or they're demanding a response right there, right then and there. You know what? You don't have to give it. Your response could be just as simple as, I need a minute.
I need a minute.
I need a day.
Honestly,
I need you to back up and get out of my face.
Exactly. I was in college. It was college before, but I remember I'd be in high stress situations, and I had a friend of mine that I could always depend on, who was great. And I'm like, hey, me and you are leaving this room right now. I need a break. And it was great, because I'm like, wow, I could actually breathe, and I could just vent.
It feels powerful, right?
It does feel powerful.
Then you feel like you're in a little bit more control of your
situation. For sure. Because I remember before, I'd be like, oh, I have to tell everyone where I'm going. I was like, I'm gonna take a minute. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's all that anyone needs to know. I just need a minute. They don't need to know why. They don't need to know where.
No.
I just need a minute. And that's loving and respectful of yourself. All right. So then you've gone through these pieces, and now you're starting to feel the feels. And so what did you do then? You're crying all the time.
Oh,
that's Lord. Where you left off.
Yeah, no, a lot of crying all the time. And I remember I was talking to you about it. I was like, yeah, no, I do the same thing. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, I still it's just beautiful, time in my life. I'll still sit on the sofa and my daughter will turn to me and she goes, Mom, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Why? Because you're crying. Oh yeah, you know what? My body, it just needs to cry. So we're just going to go with this. There are times when I'm just crying, and I couldn't even tell you why I was crying, because I didn't feel sad. That's what I tell her. I'm like, I don't really feel sad, but I'm going to cry. I'm just going to go with this and see where this goes.
That's so funny. Yeah. I remember I was telling you or somebody, and I was talking about how I cry a lot, and you're like, yeah, you were like, it's fine to cry. And I was like, all right, cool. I think because for me, personally, I guess, I was dealing with my sexuality and things at that time. So, I would cry a lot. And I didn't want anyone asking me in my house why I was crying. Yeah. So I guess I was like, we got to suck it in, or we have to wait till 10 p.m. And that's not how the body works. The body's we're going to cry right now. So yeah, when I felt all these sensations, it was a lot of crying at first, because I guess that's something I suppressed a bit. But then one day, I don't know what happened, but there was a customer at my old job, and they just made me so mad.
Oh no.
It's weird, because again, I work in customer service. I would never get mad. That's just a thing I would never do. But they just made me so mad. And I just remember going to my therapist. I was like, I'm just angry all the time. Why am I angry so And she's like, you're exploring anger. That's actually a good thing. That's a sign that you're growing. And I'm like, I don't like this. Now I'm pissed off at everyone. So I experienced a bit of anger. It's weird because it didn't come all, at once, but it came in like spurts. It was like hey, you're feeling sadness because sadness, or like you're going to be very angry for a week. And like, I started to like get these emotions and I'm like, oh, whoa, this is too much for me. I don't like
It's kind of like you're churning the bottom of the pan.
It is.
And then all this really heavy stuff is coming to the top. And what's funny is I like to believe that I've churned through a lot of my heavy junk. Not to say that the heavy doesn't come back my way, but like when I'm sitting there and sometimes those tears are flowing, sometimes it's on the other end. It isn't just about sadness. It's about love. Like sometimes when I feel so much love, sometimes the tears will just come out of my eyes. And it's not like I'm going, it's just that they're just like gently flowing down my cheeks.
You know what? I'm gonna combat a question with you. So for those of you listening, I actually wrote this lovely lady a song. Not only one, but 2 songs. Did you cry during any of those?
I did get watery eyed.
All right.
But Sherry, your energy is always so high.
What the?
I know. And I just pick it up, but those are some of your newer songs, and I do encourage anyone listening to listen to them.
They're fun songs.
They are really, really beautiful, especially the latest one. It's really catchy.
Oh,
I'm
Teach
telling
Me
you,
How to Love.
That's your moneymaker, yes.
You said that about the last song.
But this one's really gonna do it. This one will be the cover.
Oh yeah, it's funny that you go into that because I think that's a good segue. So I remember when I would write music, because I'm a musician, I write music. That's something that I love to do. And a lot of the times I would write music about crushes that I had. Call me Black Taylor Swift with more swag. That's what I did. And I remember I would write all these songs and everyone was like, oh, what's your latest crush songs? And I remember I was with you recording and I could not explain it. Actually, I can't explain this feeling. Let me walk you guys through it. So we were in the living room and I just remember being so happy, but not in a crush kind of way, but just like genuinely just super over the moon happy. And I remember like I did like a little clip in my car and I was like, that's going to be the song. I love this. And then I remember why I wrote the song and I was like, I'm feeling all these feelings again. What's going on? New feelings can creep up on you because it was like just such a platonic love and respect that I had for you. And I remember freaking out because I was telling your daughter, I was like, why am I writing songs about your mom? What am I doing? And then I remember I played it for you and you liked it a lot, but I was just like, what's going on? So, feelings can creep up on you. New feelings.
Well, yeah. And because you are so young in comparison to me.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You still have a lot to experience. There's a lot of great feels out there to experience. Yeah. And it's a great experiment to go through. So you have the experiences of crushes, experiences of...
It only took 40 songs to get that out of my system.
But you have future experiences of what a long-term romantic relationship could be like. Long-term friendships. You definitely are building those. And then, as you say, these platonic levels of love, and they all start to feel similar, but they're very different. And that's kind of what you're exploring, is what are the differences there. Like you can have such an affection and such a deep love for someone that you're not romantically involved with.
Oh yeah.
And when Sherry and I first met, I'm telling you, she just is a sparkle. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And she does brighten the room. And a lot of times she doesn't even need to try. She just needs to show up as herself.
Oh,
and
stop.
when she does, I mean, everybody, and that's probably why you felt the pressure that you always had to come in happy.
Mm.
And I just personally, for the rest of us who witness the Sherry that you are and that you will be in the future, just know that don't put that expectation on yourself on our behalf, because for those of us, much like myself, we like the full rounded Sherry experience, not just the happy, but all sides of Sherry, because that's what makes you Sherry.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh, you just spouted like the nicest things ever. What the heck? Well, you, young lady, you like are just the wisest of wise. But I know I'm not putting you up on a pedestal.
No.
I'm not.
I
but-
just keep her around because she keeps calling me young lady.
But you just have like you just have like such a cool, potent presence. And like, it sounds like I'm being gross, but I'm not. But like, you just, I don't know. You're just, again, that's why.
Potent, not smelly though.
No, not smelly. Just a very like, I don't know. Like, I can definitely, you do brighten up rooms too. That's why when you tell me about family parties, I'm like, I'm not surprised that you would say these, or you would be the person to initiate things, or you can get stuff going, and you just have such a good read on people, and you're so in touch with your spiritual gifts, and I think that's so cool.
Oh, thank you.
You're like something I aspire.
So look, we're feeling the feels.
We
man.
are really feeling we're feeling all the feelings. So yeah, you know, it's been a time of feelings, and yeah, I don't know if there's anything more for me that you want me to elaborate on. Do you want me to tell you about platonic love? Because let me tell you this.
Maybe that'll be for another time.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll get into that.
Sherry, thank you for sharing so much about yourself with us. And I really do feel like it's very helpful. It was very helpful to those who are listening and to those who will be listening down the road.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was like so interesting getting a question thrown my way. Please, I welcome you to do it again.
I love to share.
Well, I like when people ask me questions because I'm over here asking you questions. I want some give and take.
All right. Well, then thank you. Thanks for the give and take, Sherry.
No problem. And I guess you'll just sign us off now.
Yes. So I just want to thank everybody again for listening and for joining both Sherry and I tonight. And we hope you have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember that you are bigger than anything that you are going through or anything that is happening around you.